Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this briefest of metaphysical moments, I'm going to share a method that you can use to help eliminate any residual anxiety or niggling doubts relative to whatever it is you're trying to manifest, or even if you're just trying to get rid of any anxiety that you might be feeling. To give you an example, someone may need some money for a rent payment or a mortgage payment or some other urgent bill, and they may feel that they have prayed successfully, but whenever they think about paying that bill, they get a lurch in the stomach, like a gut punch. So what does one do when that happens? Well, here's a technique. The first thing you absolutely must do is take a deep breath, take two if you need to, close your eyes and smile, and then acknowledge that you have not reached the point of conviction yet. This is very important. If you tell yourself that you have done everything right, that you've prayed correctly and followed Neville's techniques or whoever it is that you're following and so on, and then you find yourself confronted by conflicting evidence, this is only going to compound the issue. So you can say something like, with your eyes closed and all the rest of it, you can say something like, okay, so that wasn't it. For example, that wasn't the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Whatever it is, you use the language appropriately, and then you're going to say, that's fine. And you really must feel that that's okay. That wasn't it. That wasn't the feeling of conviction. Or use whatever language is natural. So just ensure that you acknowledge that you have not reached the point of conviction yet. And when you do this, you're creating space to receive what you need. Then, with your eyes closed and a smile on your face, you're going to bring the issue to mind again and allow the feeling of tension or nervousness or anxiety or whatever it is to come up. Then, while still feeling that sensation, focus on the space behind your closed eyelids. If you find your mind wandering back to the details of the issue, then shift your attention perhaps to a specific spot in the space. Maybe you can see some movement there or some color, whatever it might be. But it's important that your attention is on the space behind your closed eyelids while you are having this sensation. And then what you're going to do is to continue to breathe deeply but evenly. And it should be soft, not a hard breath, but a nice, gentle, supportive breath. And while your attention is on the space behind your closed eyelids, the tension you're feeling, the anxiety, the fear, whatever it might be, is going to dissipate. The reason for that is you are removing context from the issue, and so it cannot remain. Once the feeling that gives structure to your issue has gone, the issue itself will disappear. Now, it may be necessary for you to repeat the process several times, which is fine. And then again, the time it takes for the feeling to dissipate will vary depending on what it is. So it could be a few seconds, it could be a minute or two. Once you feel that the feeling has gone, you suddenly feel a lightness, a space that is part of the general space that you're observing. You're going to say thank you in the usual way, thank you, thank you, thank you, and come back to the surface. Okay, so I'll run through that again. You're going to acknowledge, first of all, using language natural to you, that you have not reached the point of conviction, or that is not the feeling associated with the wish fulfilled. So you know what you're dealing with, but acknowledge that the way you're feeling is a signal to you that you have not reached that state of conviction, of completeness, whatever it is that you want. Once you've done that, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, smile, and then allow the feeling associated with whatever the issue is to come up. So you can do that by placing your attention for a moment on the issue, allow yourself to feel whatever anxiety it is you're feeling, and then shift your focus to the space behind your closed eyelids. And if your mind wanders back, as I say, to the details of the issue, shift back to the space behind your closed eyelids, and then stay there, keep your attention there until the feeling has dissipated. Once that's happened, return to the surface. As I say, when you remove context from an issue by allowing the feeling to dissipate, the issue itself is going to disappear. You get the idea. The technique is what is important. Okay, so these exercises that I'm sharing with you are teaching you how to operate as consciousness. No matter how real things seem in this world, they are the products of consciousness and they're subject to the operation of consciousness. So if you operate as consciousness yourself, you are in complete control. It is entirely possible to eliminate problems this way. You don't need to take any steps after doing these exercises. This is an adjunct. It's really important. Neville himself tells us that the way out has already been figured out. So once you've done the exercise, just trust that everything is going to be well. If you still feel anxiety, you just need to do the exercise again. Once that anxiety is gone, I promise you the problem goes with it. And then just go about your business as though everything is exactly as you want it to be. So remember, you use a language that's natural to you. The important thing is to acknowledge that you haven't hit the goal yet, and then allow the feeling to dissipate in the way that I've described. This is a wonderful tool, an absolutely wonderful tool to keep in your arsenal. It's something that you can whip out whenever you need it. Do make use of your innate abilities and put an end to unnecessary suffering, and you'll find that things are going to fall into place for you. I'll just share this with you. A couple of years ago, I had a similar situation. I had a huge bill and I didn't know what to do about it. And just by letting it go in this way, by allowing the feeling to dissipate, and so I didn't have to think about it anymore. I'm in Belgium, I'm in Brussels, waiting to travel back to the UK, and I get a phone call from someone at the tax office who was on his last day of work in that job. And he said to me, he needs to speak to me now. I said, can I speak to you next week? He said, no, I need to speak to you now. And I'm going to tell you this. The last thing I'm going to do in this job, because I'm leaving this job today, is write off this bill. And I got the confirmation, I got the letter and everything. So I didn't receive a windfall of cash to solve that particular problem. The bill itself was written off. We don't know how the situation is going to solve itself, how it's going to be resolved. We just need to know that it's going to be resolved as long as we remove the structure from it, and it gets its structure, it gets its context from the way we feel. So use this as often as you want. It's wonderfully effective. And I look forward to being with you in the next upload this weekend. Until next time, stay phenomenally you. And please allow me to say, if you have not subscribed, do support the channel. It's growing. I appreciate everyone who's subscribed. And we're now sort of starting to engage in the community section of our channel and all of that. So it's all good. But please do, whether you subscribe or not, the important thing is that we learn to end unnecessary suffering by operating as consciousness. Everything in existence is consciousness, is the product of consciousness. If we operate as consciousness, we have put ourselves firmly in control of our lived experience. Thank you again for listening. And as I said before, until we are together again next time, stay phenomenally you.